So good evening. It's so great to see so many of you out because I know it's not required for you to be here, but I want to welcome you to grief and bereavement therapy in the spring in our shortened semester or semi-semester. I'm Beverly Rodgers, professor. I've been teaching this class for 11 years. And so I'm glad that you are here. We're going to be meeting at every week, several weeks anyway, not every week. So keep looking at your course schedule and I'll send out reminders because sometimes the dates are going to be Tuesday nights, sometimes they're going to be Wednesday nights. So what my plan is for tonight, I want to get you out of here in an hour if I can, and be respectful of your time. I have the slide presentation that I posted. I'm going to go over that with you as an introduction to the course and what's expected, answer your questions on that, and then go over briefly what the assignment that I gave to bring a rock or some other thing that's important to you about your loved one. I will not record that portion of our talk tonight. I'll just, when we're done talking about the course requirements and all of that, before we move into the next thing, I will stop the recording. So welcome, and let me start sharing. Everybody can hear me okay? If not, shoot out a chat that says, I can't hear you. And if you can't see the sharing of the screen, let me know that too. Okay. So if you are in the wrong course, you are free to leave now, but this is grief and bereavement therapy. So this is me. This is this is my contact information. If you need quicker attention, the best thing to do is to shoot me a text. I may be in a session with a client, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. Somebody emailed me this morning and learned that I don't really get to my emails as quickly as I should because I just responded to that right before class started. So you can email me if it's not urgent or if you're sending me a document or something more wordy. But what I would suggest is if you're emailing me, send me a text that says, Professor Rodgers, I'm emailing you something. And in your text, please identify yourself because obviously I don't have all of you in my contacts. So just let me know this is Jane Doe from your grief and bereavement class. So yeah, whatever time, day or night, you can text me and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Office hours will be for Monday, on Monday nights from 5 to 6 on Zoom using this same link. The link you use tonight is the link you will use for everything that we're doing in the course. So all of our class meetings and all of the other meetings that I'll explain in a little bit and my office hours. So, but you don't have to wait to have a session with me for office hours. You can say, hey, can we arrange for a time and we can Zoom together or talk on the phone? I'm open to other appointments. So like I said, this is me. I've been teaching for 11 years. I'm a psychotherapist in private practice. I've spent 18 years also working in hospice and as a healthcare hospice administrator. And I'm an LCSW clinical supervisor. I've been doing that for about 10 years now. And I'm also, like most of us, I'm also a griever. Had several losses in my life, both my parents, a niece, some very dear friends. And so I have been through this process as well as talked about it or taught about it. And I have worked with many, many people who have been through this process as well, as a therapist and as a friend. So when you were thinking about coming to class tonight, or when you're going through the course materials and you talk to your friends, you're like, yeah, I'm going to this course about grief and bereavement. I'm sure everybody was kind of like, well, it sounds like kind of a downer. And that's true. It does involve sadness, it involves pain, but also you learn how resilient you are, or resilient people are in general, your clients, and helping them find that resilience, helping them to work through their grief and to find growth, and ultimately to find hope for the future, and to discover more about yourself and more help your clients discover more about themselves. So, practical matters. This is the text, Grief Counseling and Grief Therapy, 5th edition, by William Worden. I'll warn you, it's a little bit dated. It does reference the DSM-4, so some of the class materials will update that, but it does have a lot of good theory and practical
Can I comment on that
information.
super quick?
Sorry?
I said I just wanted to comment on that really quick. I bought a copy of this and I linked it in the chat where on so that everybody else can access the one that I bought as well.
Okay.
It's in it's on Canvas, but wherever you have like the chat set up.
Okay. So that's where you got, it's not in the bookstore?
Oh no, I linked a copy that everybody can utilize.
Oh, okay.
It's
Oh,
under
great.
discussions. I'm sorry. It's under discussions, open forum.
Oh, okay.
I bought a online copy and I linked it in there for everybody to be able to use.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
And okay.
Because it's available, it's available on Kindle. And if you decide, that this is something that you are going to do as a professional, this is a good resource to have. But yeah, if whatever works for you in terms of getting access to this text, that's great.
Yeah, the
So thank you
digital
very
copy
much,
I put
Tiffany.
there, you could download it and you could keep it forever. So
Okay. Okay, great. And it's like I said, I keep waiting for them to do the 5th edition, because when I took this course from Sandra Lopez 20 odd years ago, I think we were at the 2nd edition, something like that. And so he has updated it quite a bit, and it needs to be updated again. And maybe he's not even doing that anymore, but it is, and students have told me that it's very readable, very accessible, and has good information and good theory. So I keep using it. There's also, we'll be watching 2 films. One of them is called Rebirth, and it's available for free on Academic Video Online. And you use your Cougar One account to sign in on that. The link to that is in your syllabus, and I think I also put it on the course schedule. But you can also rent it from Amazon, YouTube, all the rest of them for $4. Now this movie, and make sure you get the right Rebirth, because there's one that's like a zombie movie or something. That's not what we're looking for. This one is a documentary about 8 people who were either survived or had loved ones who died in the 9/11 attacks on the Twin Towers in New York. There are no images, like you don't see planes flying into buildings or anything like that. There is some audio of news programs from that moment, but there's no video. The video is all talking to these survivors over, I think it's a period of like 6 or 7 years after the attack. So it watches their grief reactions and progression through that time. So in your text, you'll find reference to a study that was done on a nightclub fire, a huge nightclub fire in I think it's the 40s in Boston, the Coconut Grove, and how they did a study following the people who were grieving after that. And so this is a little bit more updated. I know it's 20 years plus since this incident, but I think it's a really good way to see the practical application of what you're learning in your textbook. So that is available for free on academic video online. And then there's also Embracing Aging, which talks about the grief aspects of aging. And that is also kind of dated, but it's the best one I could find so far. And I look every year for something that shows that kind of progression. And it still holds up. And that is available for free on YouTube. And also I put the link in the syllabus to that. I think you can also rent that or buy that on Amazon for $5 or something, but you can get it for free on YouTube. Then there'll be additional readings that'll be on Canvas, podcasts, videos, things like that. Everything that you need will be right there or linked to on Canvas. All of my slides for lectures, all of that, you can get that all in one place. Now, none of the classes that we have in person are mandatory. Okay, they're all optional. They will all be recorded and posted the following day, or if not that evening, on Canvas, so you'll be able to access it. That being said, it would be really super if as many of you as possible could come on the 17th. We will have a guest speaker. So it's always nice to have some people for her to speak with and to interact with. And the speaker this year, I always try to have somebody from the social work community to talk about what they're actually doing out there and let you know that there is hope, that there is life after this whole graduate experience. So, and Cassie Manley will be our speaker this year. She is a graduate of the GCSW and of this class. And she was a hybrid student as well. So she is a former hospice social worker. She now has her LCSW, as I said, and she's a therapist in private practice. She participates in an organization called the Death Cafe, which is a gathering of people who talk about difficult topics. And death is the main topic that they talk about because it is something that is, in society kind of taboo. So, and she also has done training as a death doula. So someone that helps people transition and create the experience that is meaningful to them at the end of life. So if you can, at all possible, if you're here tonight or if you're watching this on video and you are able to be here on the 17th, I would be grateful. But regardless, I don't take attendance and you will not be penalized in any way if you can't attend. So brass tacks, everybody wants to know what's the grading. So this is the breakdown. I think it's week 3, and we'll talk about it in a minute. There will be a group of case studies, and you will go through those, pick one, and answer some questions about it. That's 5% of your grade, and we'll talk more about all of these in a minute. Your participation grade is 15%. That is based on discussion posts and attending student presentations. There's a grief timeline paper, that's 15%. The group project is the biggest part, and I've already talked about that in the email that I sent out, and that's 35%. And then there'll be 2 quizzes on the readings and the course materials, and that's 30% of your grade. So that if hopefully adds up there to 100%. So that's the breakdown. So class participation. So you're expected to participate in the discussion groups and attend group presentations and to be current on your readings and offer insights and ask questions relevant to the topics that those are talking about. There are 3 questions that are posted. And so you are required to answer each one with meaningful responses. That meaningful response, I don't look for length. I look for, thought process. I look for meaningful engagement. So you're required to answer 3 of those, and then I invite you to engage in conversation with other colleagues. And I think people ask, well, how many? As a rule of thumb, I think you should at least respond to 1 person on each discussion post. So 3 original responses and 3 responses to other people's posts. Okay. That's kind of the minimum. And then I look for, if you just did a response that said, oh, I agree with you, great job, that's not, a meaningful response. So you need to engage with what your colleague is saying. And that could be done in a sentence or 2 sentences. So it doesn't have to be a lengthy thing. So that is part of the class participation. And in a minute, I will talk to you about what the other part is. But this is, I would say, this is like 2/3 of the class participation grade is responding to the discussions. And you have to, your responses should be relevant, provide new information or insights, ask good questions, and be respectful, of course. The case studies worksheet, okay, it is in lesson 3 under complicated grief. There are 5 case studies. Please choose 1. I will only grade 1. So if you do 5, wonderful. I will only grade 1. And there will be a questionnaire that goes with each one. So and then there's a place in Canvas to load that up. The grief timeline paper is 15% of your grade. The purpose of this, as is the purpose of our activity tonight, is to give you another toolbox another tool for your toolbox in how to help clients, and also to help you to be aware of your own grief and loss issues. So what I ask you to do is to prepare a timeline, a pictorial timeline of the losses in your life. And that is, it could be losses due to death. It could be losses due to, friendships or moving or jobs or whatever you feel is an important or notable loss in your life. And you can do that. You can be creative and do all sorts of things, or just, like a regular timeline with little spikes in it that says, this is, this loss, this was when it happened, and this is who, for instance, for a death, it'll say, it happened in 2013. The person was Dorothy Rodgers, and her relationship to me was my mother. Okay, just very simple, basic. Or it could just say this loss was in, 2012, and the loss was a move due to change in job or something like that. So, just something very simple. And then there's a prompt in the syllabus and in the assignments section of Canvas that you would respond to. And the prompts are asking you to talk about the experience of preparing the timeline. They're not asking you to process any of the losses themselves, but they're asking you, what was it like for you to sit down and put all these losses out there. What was significant to you? Why did you include this one, this particular loss? So it's asking you to look at the experience, not the losses themselves, and what it was like for you to do that. So the format will be, the picture, however you do, if you draw it by hand or if you, use the graphics or whatever. And then the timeline should be typed and double spaced. No cover, no cover page or references. And then you submit it on Canvas. And it shouldn't be more than, not including the picture, it shouldn't be more than 2 pages. You can probably do it all in 1 page, but it shouldn't be more than 2 pages. So make sure you put your name on it and submit it on Canvas. And you will get all 15 points if you engage in the topic. I'm not going to, judge your response or your experience of this. So if you engage in it and you answer the questions, I'll give you full points. And if you don't, I will text you or email you and say, try again, and give you some pointers, and then you'll get the 15 points. So that's a gimme right there. You finish it, you'll get your 15 points on that. So the group project is the main or the largest part of your grade. The purpose of this is to learn how grief and bereavement issues surface and are addressed in various practice settings. So what I've asked you to do is to select an agency, and that could be an agency that you are doing your field work in. It could be an agency that you work in. It could be an agency that you've always been interested in or curious about, and you just want to learn more about it, and you use this opportunity to do that. And it can be, and because we are a virtual setting, it can be anywhere in the world. I've had people do agencies in Europe and, in other states and things like that. So if there's something that really interests you, go for it. If you have trouble with that, if you have trouble finding a place or getting into an agency or whatever, please let me know. You can do a phone interview. Sometimes, the people in Europe, a lot of them had to do an email interview. That's less optimal. I would hope that you could do a phone interview or Zoom or in person if it's where you're doing your field work or where you work. But you'll set up an interview and then you'll present your findings to the class. There's 3 components to this group project. One is the slides, that's the biggest part, and your class presentation. One is intervention guidelines, which we'll talk about in a minute. And the last is the self-grading portion. And for that, each individual will submit their own grading of themselves and all the people in their group. So I ask you to identify, some other people to be in your group. From 2 to 4 people is optimal, because it is, it's a lot of stuff to put together in a short period of time. But, to be able to also hold each other accountable, I have the self-grading portion. So that's 5% of the 35%. So so the process is you will submit the topic worksheet, which is attached to the email. I think there it is. That's what it looks like. It's attached to the email that I sent out, and there's also various links to it in Canvas. 1 topic worksheet per group. If you're doing it on your own, then, obviously just 1 worksheet. If you If you don't have anybody else that you have hooked up with and you want to do that, just send me that and pick off here. Please assign me a group, and whether you prefer to be in a group of 2 or a group of 3 to 4. In the group or individuals, please list 3 choices for agencies. And if you don't have any agencies, you can tick off, please assign an agency to me, and I will do that. I have some colleagues who are standing by and are ready to be interviewed by you. But I asked for 3 choices so that we don't end up with everybody, number 1, interviewing the same agency, or number 2, interviewing the same type of agency. And another thing that I would encourage you to do if you are talking about a large agency like the VA or a hospital or, a university or something like that, to narrow your focus as much as possible. So like, for instance, if you're talking about Methodist Hospital, I'm going to be interviewing the neuro clinic at Methodist Hospital, or the amputee clinic or group at the VA, or something like that. So narrow it as much as possible, and get these to me by Sunday night at midnight. But the sooner the better. I will choose first, second, and third choices by when you get your sheets in. So when they come in, I put I date them, or timestamp them, so that the first one that puts Houston Hospice or whatever, for example, that group will be assigned to Houston Hospice, and so on. If you tick on the please assign an agency to interview, you might want to give me some ideas about what you're interested in, so that I can try to match you that way. Some of the people that I have standing by work in a hospital as a case manager, as a hospital in the neuro clinic at Methodist. I have someone that works at Harris County Jail in the mental health section. I have somebody that works in a hospice, obviously. So, and people that work in private practice. So those are some of the things that I have available. So if any of those sound interesting, put that on your sheet. Please, everything else that you do is going to be submitted through Canvas. This one, please send me on an email so that I have it all in one place, and I can download it, and I'll have a date and timestamp and all of that. So there's my email. You saw it on there, but this form is in your syllabus. It's attached to the email, and it's in various places. So that topic worksheet is due on Sunday night, and I'll assign topics no later than Tuesday. I encourage you to, because things go so quickly, by the 3rd week of class, to have done some research and to have developed some questions for the interview. I'd like you to go into the interview with some knowledge about, the organization, and about, the population that they serve, so that you can ask intelligent questions, and then follow up. Really, once things get rolling, I'm sure you'll come up with a lot of great questions in your interview, but just to have some to get started, to show them the person that you're interviewing that you have done your homework, and you're serious about not wasting their time. So each group will sign up for a brief check-in with the professor, with me, during the 4th week of class. And I have a link to that page to sign up. That's in the course schedule. And also, then you should complete the interview by week 5. And then you'll sign up and do both of these if you can, as soon as possible. Sign up for the check-in, which should be 15 minutes. And then sign up for when your presentation will be during that last week of class. I give a big thank you to Alex Paris. I don't know if they're here tonight, but I didn't realize that I had originally scheduled our last class and most of our presentations for when half of you are going to be graduating. So I moved everything up a little bit. So if you see some mistakes in dates, please let me know, because I kind of scrambled to do that before you guys started on Monday. But but go in there, and if for either the group check-in or the presentation schedule, none of those slots work for you, please let me know and I will arrange to meet with you at another time. The purpose of the group check-in is to see where you are on the project, if you have any roadblocks, if you have any interpersonal issues as a group that I can help with. Believe me, I've had people contact me the day before their presentation and say, we haven't been able to reach anybody at our agency. What do we do? And so, or, you know, so-and-so has not done anything the whole time. What do we do? So the purpose of this check-in is to try to head off any of those problems at the pass, to give as much help as I can. And again, that's not the end of it. That's not the end of my support, but it's kind of it forces you to get started anyway, and let me know where you are at that point. So check on those two things, and then sign up for those 2 slots as soon as possible. And I'll talk about the intervention guidelines in a minute as well. But just know that samples of the intervention guidelines and group presentations can be, as well as the grading sheet that I use for the group presentations and the self-grading sheet, are all found in a folder marked group presentation resources that you can click on in Canvas. So you should have some good examples of that. So like I said, there's the worksheet, the topic worksheet. The group presentation is 20%. The topic worksheet is not graded. You just got to do it and get it in. So the class presentation will be based on how well you deal with these 5 sections, how well you describe the practice setting and the population that they serve, a discussion of the grief issues, a review of the literature, a discussion of suggested interventions, and that could be what you got from your interview or what you guys came up with on your own, and a conclusion and an implication for social work practice. So that's 20% is your class presentation. All of this will be done on Zoom, by the way. The check-in, the presentation, classes, you know, all of it. And on this Zoom link. The intervention guidelines, the purpose of this is for you to provide your colleagues in this class with a resource if they encounter in their practice someone in the population that you have studied and with grief and loss issues. So it's just 1 page, single spaced. It'll have a paragraph at the top that describes the population, and then bullet points with 4 or 5 interventions that you have identified, and then professional citations, you know, articles that you read, websites, things like that. And APA is required. So you got to follow the APA guidelines. And I have a cheat sheet on that in the presentation guidelines folder that I just mentioned. So, and there will be a discussion post for you to post this, because while it will be graded, it's also for everybody else to have. So, so there's that. Before we talk about the quizzes, let me go back to this. I mentioned that part of your presentation grade, probably a third of your presentation grade, will be attending the presentations of other students. And you will be required to, and we'll see how it goes if how many groups we actually form. But for right now, I'm saying you need to attend the presentations of 6 other groups. Okay, you can do that in 2 ways. You can come live and attend. And if you do that, all you have to do is sign your name in the chat for that. And you'll be able to know when they are because you can go on that sign up. It's a spreadsheet, sign up spreadsheet, and see when they all are scheduled, and just sign in at that time and sign your name. If you're not able to attend, or if you can't do all 6, you can do 3 one way. The other way you can attend is I will be recording and posting all of the presentations on a discussion board. And you can go in, watch the presentation, and leave a comment that shows that you watched it. So some sort of substantive comment, doesn't have to be long, but again, it has to be more than great job, guys. You know, it has to be something that shows that you watched it. So 6, you can do 6 that way. You can do 6 live. If you do the 6 live, you don't have to do any comments. You just have to type your name. But that's the other part of your presentation grade. Okay. So there's 2 quizzes. Each one is 30 questions plus 2 extra credit questions. They're all multiple choice and true and false. They're on Canvas. Quiz 1 is available now, and it's available until the end of week 4. So you can go in at any time that you feel ready, if you've reviewed the course materials, and take the quiz. Once you start it, you got to finish it. And you'll have, I think I put 4 hours on there. You won't ever need that much time, but you can, it's all open book, open notes, open Canvas, you know, anything you want. The only thing you can't do is collaborate with other students. So it has to be, when you hit submit, you are verifying that this is your work and your work only. But you can use any of the course materials during the course of the quiz. And then once that first quiz closes, the second quiz will open up, and that will remain open until the end of term. So you'll have a block of time, and you can go in at any time you feel prepared to take those quizzes. Okay. So that's about it. The first part of the course is pretty heavy on theory. I think it's fascinating. You might think it's a little bit boring, but then the second part, which is most of it, is we'll be exploring what that theory looks like for the practice of social work, and you know, in your life and in your own experience. So let me, while I have the sharing mode on here, I will show you. This is what the group check-in looks like. So these are the dates and times. And again, if they're, oh, look, someone has already signed in, yay. They're in 15-minute intervals. And there's the link for the meeting, which is the same one. And again, if none of these work for your group, please let me know and we'll figure something else out. And this is what the group presentation looks like. I don't know why it's doing that. So there's evening, and then there's one daytime thing. I am willing to do Saturday. I didn't put it on there because usually people don't want to do Saturday, especially right before graduation. but I'm willing to do that Saturday. What is that, May 4th? If you need to. May the 4th be with you. So, so if that is something that you would prefer, I'm open to that, but, you know, this gets everybody done well in advance of the end of term and all of the other things that have to be done, all the cleanup at the end of the term. So, but that's what that looks like. So you just go in and you sign in, just put your group's, the agency in here. So, or your name, either one is fine. Okay. That was a lot of info. Any questions about any of that? There's a bunch of chat stuff. I haven't had to look. No, are we supposed to be finding an agency and reaching out to them to confirm the interview before we submit the topic? No. No, that's not necessary. You can submit the topic. Just let me know if you're having a problem getting somebody. Because then you may need to switch gears and go to another one, but don't delay. If that's going to be a delay, don't delay getting your topic worksheet in. Can we take a worksheet individually and not as a group? Yes, you can do that. It's a lot of work for one person, which is why, you know, I think a group works better. But you can do the whole thing yourself. And if that's the case, you know, just indicate that on your worksheet. I think that's, any other questions about any of the information? I try to incorporate all the questions from all the previous years. So, but I know I never cover everything that, that might be, on your mind about that. So. And if you think of something, you know, just shoot me off an email or a text, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Happy to meet with you anytime. Like I said, because of the way my private practice is now scheduled, my class meetings are going to be Tuesday or Wednesday. Except for the last one, because I had to reschedule because I had scheduled it on graduation night. That will be, I think, a Thursday night after all the presentations are done. So, but it's all correct on the course schedule. No, maybe not. Maybe it's Wednesday, May 6th. Or is that Monday, May 6th? May 6th is the last one. So, but it's on a different day. But in any event, if you have any questions, just let me know. If not, I'm going to stop the recording and we will go into the introduction to the topic for tonight, the not the topic, the activity for tonight. So let me stop that.